For the next 10 minutes, we devote ourselves to the independent mayoral candidate for London, Siobhan Benita. It's my pleasure to meet you. We've never met before.
No, we haven't. I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you for coming in. It's good to see you. Now, what does it mean? Just explain to people what it means to be an independent candidate. We imagine it means you're a maverick, you're an eccentric, and you've got nobody pulling your strings, nobody telling you what to say.
Well, I've certainly got nobody pulling my strings and telling me what to say. It just means I'm not aligned to any political party. So I'm standing as me, in touch with the people. And, you know, on the 3rd of May, Londoners are being asked to vote for an individual mayor for London. It's the one opportunity we get as voters to not have to vote for all of that party politics that I think gets in the way of doing the right thing for London. OK,
so one of the issues here, obviously, is when you say I'm standing as me, in touch with the people, you're up against 2, possibly 3, even if you include Brian Paddick, big personalities, well known to the London voter. We think we know Boris, we assume we know Ken. We have a pretty good view of Brian Paddick these days. We've seen him on telly a lot. We kind of know who he is. Yeah. When you say I'm standing as me, lots of people listening will be thinking, well, who's that? We've never heard of Siobhan Benita, so she's standing as herself. What is she standing for? What does she mean?
Absolutely. And one of the biggest challenges for an independent candidate like myself is to get out there, have my profile raised, and so that people can know what I'm standing for. The 3 candidates you've mentioned, they are big personalities, but that's got in the way during this election. We spent so much time talking about their personalities, their private lives, their tax affairs, and hardly any time talking about policies. So when people hear there's an independent standing, I've had lots of people saying, do you know what, I'm going to vote for you just because you're an independent. We're so fed up with party politicians, we want something else. Then they look at my policies and they like it even more.
OK, let's get to your policies. What are you standing for? You're standing as yourself in touch with the people. Now, some people will like the phrase in touch with the people. Other people will think that's a rather patronising and peculiar phrase. And we are of the people, we are the people. What do you mean in touch with them? Why are you any more in touch with the people than anyone else? Why are you?
Well, give me an example. If we look at my manifesto, there are some really big issues facing Londoners that the other candidates, because they've been so busy with their kind of party politics, haven't even noticed as such a big issue for Londoners.
What are they?
So I'm the only candidate that's got an education and youth strategy. I really think that young people get overlooked by party politics all of the time. I've got a 3-point education strategy. I would appoint an education commissioner for London. I would have a young mayor for London and a new Greater London Youth Assembly.
Well, let's stop with the education. What did you call it? An education what for London?
An education commissioner for London.
An education commissioner for London. I wonder whether that would strike fear and terror into the hearts of every listening teacher. And there are lots of listening teachers because they're on holiday at the moment thinking, oh, my God, we've got Ofsted, we've got governors, we've got head teachers. Do we really need what you just said, an education czar for London? That would be somebody else breathing down our necks, requiring audit, telling us what to do, monitoring us. Good God, we don't want that.
I was a public servant myself for 15 years. I'm absolutely not out to bash the teaching profession. I think they do a brilliant job in really difficult circumstances. What I'm saying is the system in London is broken. We don't have enough primary schools. We need to build about another 160 primary schools because we already are teaching kids in temporary accommodation. The transition to secondary school is really chaotic. It leaves a lot of families confused about what are the selection criteria. And the skills that some of our kids are coming out with do not prepare them for the jobs that are available. I want the Education Commissioner to be supporting teachers. I'm saying the system is broken, not the teachers at all.
I mean, we know that Michael Gove was forced to abandon all the rebuilding and reconstruction plans because of lack of money. So what you're saying sounds idyllic, 160 more primary schools and make them gorgeous with atriums and give every single one of them an amphitheatre. It would be tremendous and terrific. How on earth are you going to fund it in these difficult times?
I'm not talking even about luxury schools. A primary school costs approximately £6 million to build. The mayor's quite rightly, they've lobbied government, they've got money for big transport projects, investment in the future. Absolutely right. All I'm saying is the mayor should do the same, lobby on behalf of children. Let's get that money. We know that we're going to have 70,000 places not available over the next 15 years for kids in London. The mayor can't stand back and be passive in that. If you're going to transform London, you have to unlock kids' potential.
Is that going to be identified as your number one priority for this election?
I hope not, because I'm not a single issue candidate. Some independents in the past have been that. I've got a really strong package of measures across all of the policy areas. So on economy, for example, I'm saying let's stop all this Punch and Judy, is it a vanity project that the mayor's got? Have they used the money wisely? I'm saying when I come in, I would have an independent office of budget responsibility right in the heart of City Hall. They would hold me to account for how I spend that £14 billion budget. That's a lot of money.
Isn't that just called the London Assembly? Don't we already have someone like that? A body doing pretty much
that?
No,
they don't. They once a year they kind of approve or not the budget, but it's too late by then. And they kind of say, well, you know, we would like you to revise this bit or that bit. There's actually no real checks in the system at the moment. So I, like, you know, most of the public out there, I don't know whether Ken's telling the truth or Boris is telling the truth. They bandy around big figures all of the time. It's really impossible to know at the moment who is telling the truth.
But it sounds expensive to appoint these individuals. We've already talked about this education czar or whatever you call him, representative. Then you've got your committee that you're forming inside Central Hall with City Hall with I don't know how many people approving and disapproving your every economic choice. All of them will have to be paid to do this. It sounds as if you're appointing a team of hench people that Londoners aren't going to want to pay for, doesn't it?
I'm saying this team could be a small team of probably 4 expert economists. That's probably all you need to do this.
What's an expert economist?
Actually,
economists blow with the wind, and each one of them of a particular political persuasion. Where do you find an objective, independent, so-called expert economist? Who are you thinking of? Of whom are you thinking when you say this?
That's a whole different discussion. I think the way they would be independent. Do such
individuals exist? And I would imagine if they do, they'll be very expensive indeed.
We have
4 of those.
We have a national budget of office responsibility that everybody now agrees is working really well, and it's keeping a check on the Chancellor and how they use the budget. So I'm saying do the same thing for the Mayor. Boris Johnson at the moment has 41 members of staff in his private office. I've worked in some private offices in the civil. I don't think you need 41 members of staff, so I'd take 4 of those and I'd change those posts into this new office.
You took might be the filing clerk and the catering assistant. They wouldn't be economic experts.
It wouldn't necessarily be the same people.
Tell me about this. Roll out capital-wide Wi-Fi is one of your stated aims, it says here. Why is that so high on your priority list?
Because we need to make sure that London remains the kind of global destination of choice, and having technology, looking to the future for London has to be the way to go. The thing with Wi-Fi, we've got a fantastic opportunity with the Olympics. There are lots of businesses working with the Mayor to do this at the moment. And I'm saying, in general with the Olympics as well, let's capture that good practice. Let's see what works and make sure we don't lose it. We do have a tendency to kind of do things and just let them drift afterwards. So let's see how it works during the Olympics and let's build on that. The thing with Wi-Fi and broadband and all of that stuff as well, I want to say is it's all very well doing all of that. At the same time, we have to make sure that everybody understands the new technology. So actually, I know at the moment, again, there are mums, dads, there are families who would love to be on the internet, who would love to be using it, but they don't understand it. They don't have the software. They don't have the computers. So we need to do it at both ends and make sure everybody can benefit from this.
What do you make of our debate this morning about the ad campaign that has just been banned? Boris Johnson has, I think most people or many people will consider, stepped up to the plate. Some people will say he shouldn't have done because they don't like censorship of any form in any form. Others will say this was quite a brave thing to do. He bit the bullet on this and he's banned the ad, which would have said not gay, post-gay, ex-gay and proud, get over it. Where do you stand?
I'm totally with Boris on this. I think he did exactly the right thing. You know, being gay is not an illness. It's not something to get over. I'm unequivocal on that one.
What need we know about you? Why do you want to be Mayor of London? It's a huge job. It's an enormous pressure. Why do you think you would be the right person for the task?
I think I'll be the right person because I represent what so many Londoners feel at the moment, which is a real disillusionment with the party political system that we have. I think we need a new generation of public leaders who don't bring all of that party political baggage with them, who don't have the stakes in the ground, who are just prepared to say, I'm going to look at all the ideas that are out there, I'm going to look at all of the evidence, and I'm going to do the right thing. I don't have to toe a party line. I've got no spin doctors telling me what to say. So I can really harness the best ideas and the best talent.
But you see, one of the problems with being independent is nobody knows what you stand for or what you think because you don't have any, you haven't tied your colours to any mast. So nobody can say, oh yes, she's right wing, she's left wing, she's anything. We don't know. So when you say, and the great thing about me is I can do the right thing, how is anyone listening to know whether their idea of the right thing would be your idea of the right thing?
Well, I mean, some very basic statements. I believe in equality of opportunity for absolutely everybody.
But don't we already have that? Isn't that enshrined in the law for a start?
That is, but it doesn't always. You look at the society that we have, we don't have equality of opportunity. We still have people stuck in poverty. We do not have an equal society at the moment.
Yes, but as Mayor of London, even though you'd be enormously powerful where you're elected, how on earth would you go around rectifying minor injustices or even major injustices of this kind? That's the job, isn't it, of all sorts of other services, including the police, social services, industrial tribunals. You couldn't take that on as Mayor. mayor?
Well, I wouldn't want to get involved in the operational day-to-day running of those kind of organisations. But what you should be doing as mayor is identifying where things are getting stuck in the system, and you should be shining a light on those and working with those organisations to improve those areas. What's interesting for me is I'm getting support from traditional Labour people, from traditional Conservative people. I've had lots of support from some very sensible journalists, and what they're saying is...
I saw you got some support in Grazia magazine.
I did.
My magazine of choice. There you were.
I never thought I'd get on the chart of last in Grazia, but there you go.
I thought, well, that's an endorsement. That's a ringing endorsement.
Absolutely.
I don't know whether Ken or Boris or Brian Paddock have ever featured in Grazia, but
and
you
the bookies as well are coming in behind them.
Well, Siobhan, it's been very interesting indeed to meet you. Thank you very much indeed for coming in. That's Siobhan Benita, the independent candidate in the London mayoral election.